Welcome back, ADF fans. Today we're going to talk about using CosmosDB with mapping data flows. I'm going to show you how to create a brand new collection, which would be in CosmosDB terms a database or a collection of JSON documents. And so I'm going to start with a general basic flat file, a CSV text file that I use for my demos all the time, which is the movies CSV. And so nothing different here. This is how you typically would work with data from file formats or from databases. And at the end, when we land to CosmosDB, we'll see some differences. Now, what I'm going to do in this is I'm going to take this flat file, I'm going to take this CSV movies, which has movie title, genre, year, rating, and Rotten Tomato. And I'm going to take that, I'm going to create a hierarchy from that so that I can have a JSON document at the end. Now, you don't need to create hierarchies, but within data flow, you can generate complex data types like hierarchies and arrays, which can be stored within the JSON documents in CosmosDB, making it a very useful sort of data store to use for data that has that sort of shape to it. Now, the way that I got these data types here from my CSV text file was to use the detect data type feature on the mapping data flow. The next thing I want to do is I want to generate that hierarchy. So I'm going to call my hierarchy movies, and then within the expression in my derived column is where I can generate the hierarchy. So you go to the top left hand side of the expression builder, and this is where you can build and manage your hierarchies. So you can create columns and subcolumns, and the column will create you a brand new column at the top level, and then you can create subcolumns from there, and you can use the add sub column to continue to nest these fields and create complex hierarchies. Very simple for this demo, I just created the movies hierarchy with the same set of properties right underneath it. Now notice I did not use them all, so I didn't map all of these. I did not map Rotten Tomato because it's Rotten Tomato misspelled and has a space in it, and there's no values in there. They're all null, so I don't even want that. So I'm going to just land these. Now I took genre, I made that into an array. Genre from the source data, and actually let me go ahead and quick show you that in the data again here is that's the data. There is a button all the way on the right hand side that allows you to hide the graph, and then you can go into full screen mode when you're configuring and working with the data previews. So the data has movie ID, which is a business key, and then it also has the title of the movie with a multi-value field, which is genres, which is delimited by a pipe. So I'm going to use that to split on the pipe and then to create an array from that field of each genre. Then we have year, we have ratings, and so on and so forth. Now, the thing I want to mention about the year and the other fields within here that have some data that seems a little bit off is that there are some Easter eggs hidden within this data set that I've built in here to demonstrate data quality and data cleansing within data transformations and data flows. And so I don't want those in here, so I'm going to clean that up a little bit to create a brand new collection of these JSON documents. But this is the data that we're working with. We're going to take out the Rotten Tomato, and we're going to split up the genres. So I click this button back again, and now I'm back into the regular mode, the UI, and we can go back into the well, we already showed the hierarchy within the derived column. So what I want to show you what I'm doing next. I have an aggregate down here that is going to take out those duplicates in the titles. I don't want to land those in my collection. So I'm using the distinct row capability within Dataflow by creating a pattern using aggregates. And I'm grouping by the title, so I only get every unique title, and then I choose which one of those I want to keep, but I'm just keeping the first one because they're duplicates anyway, it doesn't really matter. But notice I'm using a self-join pattern here. So I put a select right after my top stream here, and I'm calling it a ridge. This is all the original columns. Because I'm aggregating, when you aggregate, think about creating a aggregation function within SQL, and you select an aggregate function. The only fields, the only metadata that's going to come along with that query is going to be the fields that are used as part of the aggregation. And so the same thing happens here in Dataflow. So to get the original set of metadata and columns back, I do a self-join. I just join here back to the original, and I did this by using the new branch function. So new branch gives me a brand new stream and multicasts this down to here. This is where I aggregate, and then I join back on that title back to the original. Okay, so now we got all my data back. I do a little bit of cleanup on that metadata. Now that we did a self-join, we wanted to get rid of duplicate I'm going to do the full screen again. I'm going to get rid of the duplicate columns, and so I select the, which I believe are set by default anyway on the select transform, is to skip the duplicate columns. I do a little bit of name cleanup. I take out the stream name from here. Now I should say that all of these other columns are not really meaningful to us anyway, because all we're going to land is a JSON document of the hierarchy that we built here called movies. Okay, so these are all going to go away anyhow. Let me go back to my regular mode here. And let's see, so we did the cleanup. Now I want to produce a surrogate key. The reason you're going to do this is because what CosmosDB is going to require you to do is to identify an ID field and a partition key. The identifier and the partition key make up the uniqueness within a document in a row within CosmosDB. And so, since we're creating a new database, we need to make a modeling decision here. And we need to decide if we want to allow CosmosDB to auto-generate that, sort of like the identity property of your primary keys in SQL Server. In which case CosmosDB will just generate a GUID for each of the document rows. Or do you want to use one of your own keys? Now, in a follow-up video, I'm going to show you how to update and delete documents within CosmosDB. And when you get to that point to managing your collections, it is important to know the ID, because you're going to need that along with the partition key when you make those updates. So if you don't know it and you're going to allow CosmosDB to generate automatically GUIDs on that, you're going to have to query that first and then join that back together. It's possible, but it's a little bit trickier. So I just create my own ID, and I don't want to use the business key, which is the movies. I want to create my own, so I'm using the surrogate key transform. Now, the system ID within CosmosDB is stored as a string, so I need to cast that because we generate keys as incrementing values, so they're integers. And so I'm going to cast the integer to a string here in my drive column. Okay, last but not least, we're going to drop that all into CosmosDB. So we use a sync dataset for CosmosDB. Let's go in and edit that. Now, I'm going to click edit. I'm going to type in the name of my collection because this collection is going to be brand new. This does not already exist. So you saw there's no schema associated with it. And so I'm going to generate this new on the fly based on this data flow. Call it movies demo. And then back into the data flow, I do want to show you here on settings, there's a few things you want to tell ADF about CosmosDB. First of all, we're only going to do inserts in this case. I'm creating a new collection, so let's click recreate collection. I'm not going to use batch size, but I do have to identify what my partition key is. So remember, I generated a top level hierarchy called movies, and I have a property in there called title. So I'm using title as my partition key. And then we have throughput. So the throughput becomes your essentially your scalable RU setting. And so what this means is that when this ETL process runs, the throughput will be set at 2000. And then when it goes away, when this process is over, your CosmosDB will go back to the RU setting that you're using for your normal run rate within CosmosDB. So this is scalable throughput only used for the time that the ETL processing is occurring. Now for the mapping, so remember I said earlier we're not auto mapping here. I'm taking out all of those other single just key value fields, and I created a hierarchy. So this is where all of my data is going to be stored. Now I am mapping, actually that changes to say ID. I am mapping the system ID here, so it's called ID on the CosmosDB side, and I called it SKey, so I'm mapping that. And that's all you have to do. If I didn't map this last column, CosmosDB would automatically generate an ID for me. Let's go ahead and do a data preview just to make sure that everything looks right. So I'll refresh this and we should be good. And then just like in any other connector with data flow, with CosmosDB, that data is not being written. This is a snapshot, a look at the data within the data frame, within memory of the Spark cluster. To actually write this data, we're going to execute this from debug on a pipeline. So everything looks good. There is my array. My genres that was split, these all only had one. That's just fine when it had multi-values. How long is it going to take me to find? There's one. Okay, let's go over to the pipeline and execute it. I think we should be good to go. So we're going to say debug. And that should start kicking off right away. As you can see, when I ran this in an earlier demo, it took a minute. So we should get all those 9,000 plus rows written as documents into that collection. Now I'm going to go over to my CosmosDB interface here. You see I do not have a movies demo yet. I called it movies demo. We can refresh this and we can see where ADF is in its stage, see if it is starting to, and it has already actually built the collection. I can go in, items will show me the rows as they start to land, and there's nothing. Let's see, it's refreshing. And there we go. So everything should look good. Let's take a look at the no, this is the original Tron, 1982. Everything looks right. Let's go ahead and look at a few of these others. Wedding Planner, Pee-wee's Big Adventure. We have the movie ID, we have the ID, we have the year. Everything looks good. So that's it. That is how you insert data into CosmosDB and transform it using mapping data flow. I'm going to follow up with some videos on how to update and delete data once it's in Cosmos. Thanks for watching.